Well, well, well. Welcome back, my friends. Today we have yet another spectacular event for you. 30 minutes underwater, apparently. I am joined with some friends here. We'll explain in a minute. We'll explain in a minute what's going on. Joined from friends from Snorkl, as you can tell. One of my favorite new, can I say up and coming tools?
Sure.
Relatively new. It's been around for a couple of years, but before we jump in, I have to say welcome. I have to say hello. I want to know who you are and I want to understand who's in the audience. So please send something through the chat, a hello, a hi. Let us know where you're calling in from. Let us know what you teach, what you're excited about learning today. You can also be using that chat feature over there to ask your questions. If you are tuning in on the recording, you're watching the recording, you can always ask your questions in the comments below. But today, live, we're going to be using the Q&A feature. We're also going to be using the chat. So be sure to introduce yourself, to let us know who you are, where you're calling in from, and to make sure that you get your questions in there because we have a fun show for you today. The crew from Snorkl has got it lined up. But before we jump into that, I we should do some introductions. Monique, Jeff from Snorkl. Hello, welcome. How are you?
Hello.
Hello, thanks for having us.
Yes, my name is Jeff.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm
Um,
one of the co-founders of Snorkel and a former elementary school teacher, and super excited to walk through some of the things that I loved about teaching elementary school with Book Creator and Snorkel today.
Yes, and I'm Monique. I was previously an instructional tech coach, and then before that, I was in the middle school classroom for math and science, and then also a little stint in elementary as well, and have used Book Creator, love Snorkel, ready to app smash.
well, you two have brought quite the attention of a crowd. We have a ton of people chiming in, and I am seeing a ton of community members. Ngozi from Nigeria. We've got Iskra calling in. She's in Macedonia. Megan from Wisconsin in the US, and a ton of other ed tech. And I'm seeing a lot of lower school folks. So a lot of kindred spirits here for you today, Jeff and Monique. And you might notice over in the chat, folks, there's a Katie Fielding. As almost always, Katie Fielding is incredibly on it with your needs and sharing links and all of the things that you are probably going to ask for. Oh, I want that. So all of that stuff is going to be in the chat today. Just check it out. She's going to be sharing links throughout. If you have any questions, put them there or use the Q&A. And if we need to stop the speakers, we will. But otherwise, Jeff, Monique, run us through it. What do you got?
All right, let's jump in. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about the what, why, and how of student-led conferences, and we're going to be app smashing Book Creator and Snorkel. So let's dive in. We already know who's here because we did intros. Great, check, awesome. Our agenda today is we're going to talk about the what. So like what really is a student-led conference? Can we see a demo of this? Like how would you run this in your classroom with these two apps together? Why should I even bother about student-led conferences? Like normally, maybe I'm also super excited if my students run it. Little background about what is Snorkel and what is Book Creator. And then the how, like how do I actually like put this into place with my students tomorrow, this week, next year? Maybe you're already planning ahead because you already had conferences. So we would love to just give you a couple of tips on to how we did this ourselves. All right, so a student-led conference is a meeting where the student is really leading what they've done, what their journey has been so far, and they're really presenting to their teacher and their parent, or maybe just their parent if the teacher is just like monitoring around their journey of what their learning has been and what they're really proud of, maybe what they're still working on, but really going through where the student is leading that conference. But we don't just want to send them out into the abyss and be like, okay, you learned things, go tell your parents or your grown-up, who's ever at the conference with you. We really want to set them up for success, to give them an outline and a template to see like what should they be conferencing about? Like you as the teacher, we know what we talk to with our parents or our students grown up, but how can we set our students up for that? So we have a live fishbowl demo for you today. So I'm going to take off my Snorkel right now because student Monique is coming to the game. So I'll put my hat on. And Jeff is going to pretend to be my parent here, or my grown-up that I brought to my student-led conference. So
Excited to see your work this semester, Monique.
oh, thank you. I'm excited too. So this is my example. I'm Monique. Thanks for coming with me today to my conference. I put my picture up there, and this is April of 2025, and I am in 6th grade this year.
Mm-hmm.
This is the work I'm proud of so far. And
Oh, looks like you have some videos there of your work. What is that?
I do. Well, I was working with this app, with this platform, this app. It's called Snorkl. And so I recorded my work on here. And I picked this work because I'm really proud of it, because when you do something on Snorkl, you can get a score on it. And I got an excellent score my first time. And then I didn't have to keep going because I understood it. And I knew that with my feedback. So then I could help my table mates because they were a little confused. And on this one, I used all my vocab words. Can I show it to you?
Yeah, we'd love to see it.
Okay.
All right, so on the left side, I see 4W, so I can write 4W equals, because it's balanced, and then there's a 25 on the other side. Then I want to isolate W, so I want to isolate my variable. I want to divide both sides by 4, so that would be W equals 25 fourths.
That was my best work. I'm really proud of that one. I used that vocab word isolate, and that was a word that I had just learned. And I thought that was really cool.
That was so clear. You explained it really well.
I'm also really proud of this reading. I learned about the main idea. It's been really hard for me in elementary school so far. So then I got to middle school, and since I worked on it so long in elementary school, that I keep working on it now. And so now I'm really proud of this one, and I could show you this one. For time on everyone on this webinar right now, we're not going to watch all the videos, but you have this link and you are welcome to watch all of the videos. The idea here is that we would have our work ready for that way the videos are up and ready for students to show their parents. This is my math growth, and this is I put here what we were learning about was equivalent ratios, and it took me a lot to improve because I was just really confused at first. And so my teacher had extra videos, and I tried the extra problems that were in Snorkl. So I put my first attempt here, and we could watch that. And then I put my final attempt here, and it actually took me like 4 times to get that one right. You would not believe it.
You tried 4 times, Monique? That's incredible.
I did. And you know what? My teacher, they didn't even ask me. On Snorkl, it just says respond again. So I thought, I'm going to do it again. And I did.
Way to go, student Monique.
Thank you. I'm really proud of my math growth on this one. On social studies, we have this really big video right here. And I really love learning about this geography topic. There were some new vocab words, and it just like really made sense to me. So that's my best work here. In real life, I would play it for my parent. And then this is my favorite science work. And I just, you know what? I love space, and we were learning about space. And I remembered that we talked about the eclipse last year when we had the glasses, and that was really cool. And then my teacher taught me about it. So this was my favorite work here that I learned about.
Do you think we could play it for a bit?
Yeah, let's play it.
Okay, so right here we can see that the sun is on the left and it is shining towards the earth and in this top view model. And the moon is at the bottom of the earth here. So that means that half of the moon is going to be getting light from the sun. In this case, it's going to be the left half that's going to be getting the light. And then, we see the reverse of that because our perspective is not from the top view model, it's from where we would be sitting in the earth looking out. So it would actually be looking at the right side of the moon to us on Earth. And we call that the first quarter moon phase. The first quarter moon phase.
Very nice.
Thank you. That was also my favorite because it was really confusing. I think I could have put that in my most challenging one too. I didn't really know about why we see the moon in certain places when we did. And also, I think I said eclipse there, but this is not an eclipse video, but I also love eclipses too. All right, next up, my most memorable challenge was the rock cycle. Let me tell you, this was really challenging for me. There was a lot of new words that I learned. And then also, it just like really didn't make sense until my teacher brought the rocks out. And then we went through that process. And it made a lot more sense then. And then this would be my video of the rock cycle. Do you want to watch it now?
How long is it? I'd love to see it for a few seconds at least.
Okay, I'll show you just a few seconds of this one because I want to make sure that we end on time for our student conference here.
That's right. We've got more students coming up.
Oh, well, this is
All
an
right.
8.
Energy drives the rock cycle with heat, pressure, and mechanical forces. So melting transforms rocks into magma, which then cools and undergoes crystallization to form igneous rocks.
I learned a lot of new words in that one. And then an area that I'm still growing right now is using claims in writing. And a claim in writing is where I'm learning about what the author is saying and what I think about that. And it's just really tough for me. I'm actually not really sure if what I said right now is even right. It's something that I'm still working on with my teacher and my group. But I have a video here. I didn't actually do too well on it when I got my score, but I did get feedback and I tried again and I improved, but it is something that I'm hoping that I can improve on as we keep going throughout the year. And then this is my goal for the year. And my teachers assigned this one to me in Snorkl too. And I picked it because I want to get ready for 7th grade since I'm in 6th grade and I know reading is important. So I'm going to let you listen about my goal here.
My goal is to read every single night for 30 minutes because I think it's important to read. And also, I know I'm going to have to read a lot next year in 7th grade.
So at first I just said read, and then I needed to get more. I got some more feedback on that said I should explain why I should read more and for how long I should read. And I was a lot more specific with this. And this is my sticker page. And I put a lot of stickers all over my book because it made it more fun for me. All right, we're going to pretend that conference just ended here. I'm going to put my Monique Snorkl back on from Snorkl here.
Back from Snorkl, Monique. Great job, student Monique.
Well, great job with you too. Some wonderful questioning. So we just wanted to give you like a quick rundown of like, what could that look like for your students? This might be like biting off way more than you might want to chew right now. So if you are like, oh, you know what? I actually, maybe I can include one of these videos. Like that is also a great starting place too. But we want to know why would we incorporate Snorkl videos into our book creator student-led conference?
Yeah, I think from my perspective, just thinking of my elementary students, it just helps instill like a sense of agency in the work that they're doing, in class, because they know that they're going to get a chance to share this. And then in the process of like getting ready to share, like you just did, and actually doing it, there's so much great metacognition and them thinking aloud and explaining and sharing. I also think that sometimes videos are just more approachable to a parent. It's just easier to see a kid talk through things and understand than just looking at say like the final work or the worksheet alone.
I 100% agree with that, Jeff. And I want to just add to it also that as a previous middle school math teacher, I had a lot of parents coming in a little confused about the quote unquote new math, and so sometimes being able to like see how their student was able to go through that mathematical process and get to the answer that they did really gives them like an in-depth understanding of like where their student is coming from and how much they learn. Because I know as a parent myself, sometimes when you ask, how was school? You get, great. What'd you do? Nothing. Stuff. So Snorkl really helps give purpose to that. What did you do? What are you learning? How are you learning? And seeing that learning behind the screen, behind the worksheet, really getting in depth with that.
Mm-hmm.
So we would love to just take a moment to talk to you. If you are new to Snorkl today, or you are new to Book Creator, we just want to give you a really brief background to both. Maybe you already know both, and you're, or maybe this is just an intro for either.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen and let's see if I can find it. I think this is the right one. So this is just a quick, I'll play like a one up to a minute of this. Then this will give you a quick, for those of you that are not familiar with Snorkel, that's how those videos in the book creator presentation that Monique shared were created. And so we'll just do a little overview of what the platform is and how it works.
Snorkel is a classroom tool that captures how students think, not just what they answer. Snorkel is multimodal, which means that students can draw, type, highlight, and then hit record to explain their thinking out loud. All right, so it says that Tyler is going to make a rectangular frame whose length is 29 centimeters. I'm going to go ahead and start by drawing a rectangle and labeling one of the sides as 29. As they respond, Snorkel records both students' voice and everything happening on their screen, giving teachers a complete picture of how a student is reasoning through a task. Once submitted, Snorkel's AI analyzes the student's explanation, both verbal and visual, and delivers feedback that feels personal. It celebrates strong thinking, whether that's a student's strategies, their vocabulary, or their reasoning. And if a student is off track, Snorkel still starts with praise and then follows up with thoughtful, targeted questions to guide revision, just like a great teacher would. That's the power of Snorkel. Every student gets meaningful, personalized feedback, and they can use it immediately to revise and improve their response. And it works in all classrooms and grade levels. In ELA, students can annotate texts and explain their interpretations. In science and social studies, they break down open-ended questions. Even in world language classes, students are practicing their oral language in context, and English language learners across the country are using Snorkel to develop.
I'll go ahead and pause that one a little bit short, but the videos that Monique was creating, those were all created in Snorkel. So there's all actually part of like a more normal classroom flow around like exit tickets and do nows. And so the students were able to take those videos and then also use them as part of their portfolio. Oh no, how do I not stop sharing?
At the top, I think.
There it is. Boom. We're back.
We're back. Wonderful. David, did you want to share a brief book creator background?
Sure. Yeah, why not? All right, let me fire up book creator. Y'all, so a couple of questions actually came into the chat. Let's pull up some of these. So they wanted to know how you got the video out of Snorkel and into the book. That is perhaps something we could show. Maybe.
Perfect. That is a perfect segue because that's our next slide. So way to go.
Yes, let's show that.
They were ready. All right, awesome. So let's talk about the how. We have this really great idea of putting together Snorkel with Book Creator. So we are going to share with you the book template and then go over how to download a Snorkel video and then how to upload that into Book Creator. But before we do that, we just want to go over a few considerations. So this, we might be thinking like, okay, I can do like one Snorkel activity before my student-led conference next week. Great. If it were me, I'd recommend the goal setting one. It's just like really easy to take and implement, and it can go with any subject, but you can come pick anything in the library. If you already have been using Snorkel for a while, you can take any and every activity that your students have done, or they can go in and pick what they are most proud of or have any part of growth. But I also want you to think about the timeline in your classroom. Like, when is your student-led conference? Is it tomorrow? Is it next week? Is it actually like it's already passed and it's next year? Or you don't do student-led conferences yet, but you do want something to pull up for your parents or your students' parents. Like, they could totally create a book and then you could showcase that and they could also go over that more at home. What artifacts do you already have? Maybe it's not an all Snorkel book. Maybe that's one page of the book. We want to give you all of these so that way you have something to lift. And that way it's just a little bit easier to go through. But maybe they have writing. Maybe like it doesn't have to all be Snorkel, but one portion of it could be. And another thing to consider would be, how are we going to collaborate with other teachers on this? Are you a middle school teacher where you have where you see your students for one subject, but then other teachers are seeing them for other subjects? Or are you their homeroom teacher in elementary school? And maybe you also include like the music teacher or the art teacher, PE or somewhere in there. Or Do you switch for class, or is it just you? It's you are with your students all day and you don't need to collaborate with anybody else on this right now. But then could you collaborate with your grade level partners and think like, what are they going to put forward? What are they thinking of, and brainstorm that way? All right. Can I go into David?
I really like that about this, that really what you're having the students do is just go back and look at videos they've already created as part of the learning process and picking out the ones that represent the best examples of their learning or the progress of their learning. And I mean, kind of a brilliant idea, because then the kids don't have to go back and redo all the thinking. They're actually kind of like analyzing their analyzations, which is super meta.
One more level, right?
Thank you.
Or one more level up. And then thinking too, like we might be preparing now for August, right? Like as teachers, we're always preparing. Maybe we're not thinking about August yet, but I feel like sometimes at the end of the year, you have your end of year and your beginning of the year, they sort of mesh. And it's like, well, what can I do now to prepare for next year when I'm starting with Snorkl? And if I have all of these videos throughout the year, super easy for your students to just pull them at the end of the year, the semester, when they're going to do their student-led conference.
Yeah, same. And it's the same conversation for portfolios, right? I mean, which is essentially the student-led conference is a part of your portfolio, but you don't want to wait until you need it to go looking for all this stuff. So
exactly.
I love it. This is fantastic.
And for Snorkl, we already have a portfolio tab and students can just go to that and grab and go. So with that being said, we have a link where you can go ahead and you'll be able to grab this template right away. And it is in the webinar thing, and I think maybe also in the chat, I'm not sure. But when you grab this, you can see that and it'll say, they have to move us over a little bit. Okay, and then right away, if you want, you can read it. Otherwise, you can just click remix this book. If you X out and you're like, oh my gosh, you can just click remix up here as well. So I'll go ahead, and I just got this portfolio template. I want to put it in my library. So I'm remixing it, and I'm going to put it to my library here. Go ahead and copy it and jump over. As you can see, I've tried this a few times. Then when I have my portfolio that I'm ready to share with my students, I'm going to go ahead and click share. And then I can assign it to the students in my class, and they can go ahead and start that assignment with their invite link, or maybe you copy that code to your LMS. Once students are in this portfolio, it's pretty blank for them, so that way they can just jump in, and you can go ahead and edit that beforehand before assigning to, but they can include a picture of themselves, or sometimes students don't want to, maybe they include a picture of something they like right now, because when they look back in a couple years, maybe they have all these portfolios that they've put together, they can see like, oh my gosh, when I was 8, I was really enjoying this at that time, or what have you. Here we have just our subjects and the things that they're proud of, as well as how to insert a Snorkl artifact. And we're going to go over that in just a moment. But it's everything that we just showed, and it's just blank and ready to fill in with your students. So let's go ahead and see, how do I download a video from Snorkl? So as a student, I have this portfolio tab in Snorkl, and I can go through and look for, okay, what video am I going to put in here for what I'm most proud of, or maybe what I was working on. And I can see that I was looking for that equivalent ratios here, and I was correct and excellent. I'm gonna click those 3 dots and just download it, and it will download right away. I'm gonna come back over here to my book and book creator, and I can go ahead and just drag it in. If I don't want to drag it in, I can go ahead and get my plus up here and say that I want to pick media from a file, and I'll go ahead and upload that right away, and it's going to go ahead and take a couple seconds, but as soon as I put it up there, I'll be able to readjust the size and watch it right in Book Creator. And then I can explain like why I'm proud of this work. And sometimes teachers might prefer to have their students do this, like put up your video and then write why you're proud of it. Students can write why they're proud of it while it's loading, be a time saver right there. And then I can go ahead and adjust that to the size that I would like to. Other teachers might be thinking, okay, I'm going to have my students like download all their videos and then upload them all and then write about it. Maybe you write about everything first and then upload. Really, whatever flow works best for you and also for your students. But that's
Monique, can I jump in and point something else out
please.
right now that's a critical moment? If students wanted to translate or add subtitles to those videos, or record themselves explaining this stuff, we're seeing a lot of teachers having students explaining their thinking and learning in both their native language and perhaps in their second language of English, but then being able to use the translation features built right in, so that the explanation of that thinking in their native tongue is more articulate, and you get a better sense of what's going on. You're not judging them based on their English skills, but rather their analysis of the learning. And so that they can do that right here. They can very easily create a Snorkl video in their first language and then bring it into here and use our built-in translation feature. So if you click on the video,
Yeah.
it's actually super quick. Click on the video, click on the eye in the upper right-hand corner next to the plus button. Yeah, and then you can click add captions. And so this is going to add, so generate automatically because you were speaking in English. So you just hit this. It's going to make the subtitles and the captions for the video, which will also be like a little thing you can click on and copy and paste. But then you'd be able to also translate those captions so that you can read them and watch them in English. So don't want to derail. You don't have to sit here and do all of this live on the demo. But
I love that. So then I'm student Monique, hold up. My grown up is prepared. My grown up does not speaks a different language. I would then translate to that language with those subtitles that I picked?
Right. So like, so there's different scenarios. Teacher speaks English, mom and dad speak Spanish, student is bilingual. Student records their reflection video, some reflection videos in Spanish so that mom and dad can follow like this, and then put subtitles in English so the teacher knows where the thinking is. Because the teacher and the student, they're like this, but the parents need that bridge. And so it's easier for the teacher to trust the student and say, yeah, record your whole video in Spanish. No big deal. Okay, so now you can hit done. If you wanted, you could edit all the captions. You have the video selected, hit the eye again, and then just hit translate.
Oh,
add translation.
Okay.
Yep. And then you can choose, in this example, we're playing with Spanish, but there's 137 different languages. And then when you hit translate, it's just going to add in those subtitles. So now you have an English subtitles and you have Spanish subtitles. You can even edit the Spanish subtitles. But when you play the video, it will play those subtitles down at the bottom. Right. And that's the real key.
There are three.
Yes. Wow. So bottom, so you can change between the English and click on that, and then you can set your captions.
My mind is blown here.
Exactly.
This is amazing.
My mind is so blown, David. I'm loving all of this right now.
And so we're seeing this being used anytime teachers need to explain things going home, or parents need to explain things coming back. So student can go home, have parents record video right in the app with student, right? Native language, we're having conversation, translate, add subtitles, teachers be able to see it. They can add comments, record voice. The other thing is, if you record your voice, you can have it just automatically translate the voice, and it just reads it in a robot voice, but like pretty legit. Anyway, I'm derailing.
No, I love it. It's not derailing. It's very powerful, because that is something that we would want to include in our student-led conference. That is amazing. Right. On the flip side, for Snorkl, students are able to record in their native language and then receive feedback in their native language, for anyone who's new to Snorkl here. But then on the teachers end, the teacher sort of has that same, where it'll toggle the translate, so the teacher will be able to see the closed captions in the language that they have set as well. So we're just bringing it all to.
So that was my question. That was going to be my follow-up question, was, could the student do the same exact thing in Snorkl and have Snorkl respond in their native? And that is so brilliant.
So powerful. And what we're finding too is that students who might not have been given the opportunity to explain something to their peers or their teacher before are now able to explain in their native language and get feedback in that language, and are really excelling with that, and also being able to, then their peers can watch that in their own language and understand like what they are saying. So powerful.
Exactly. And we understand, as teachers, we understand where the gaps are, where we need to fill things in, instead of just like, I don't know, they're not responsive, they're frustrated. It's like, you get rid of all that because you clear out the communication errors, which, as someone who lives in Spain and is an English speaker, like, I know it's hard. It's rough.
Right. So, you have a whole nother layer. Right.
To have a teaching assistant in your classroom who speaks your language, I can only imagine the stress that would take off of a child. To just put the worksheet picture into Snorkl, and speak in my native language and say, what is going on here? Please explain what's going on, and have it come back and say, oh, no, you're totally right. You know what's going on. La, 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 la. Oh,
Right,
I
exactly.
think the
And then
validation.
exactly. And then those instructions in Snorkl too can also be translated. So if you're sitting there and you're like, oh, I'm not exactly sure what I'm being asked, like now I know what I'm being asked and I can respond and I can get feedback. Trifecta.
And
And now
teacher's not in the dark. Right. Teacher's not in the dark. You can put it in a book, safe and secure, share it at home. Love it. Okay.
exactly. And I think we are at time, and that brings us to our next slide, which is if you would like to learn more, book creator or Snorkl. And we are here for you. We are here to support. We are excited to connect. And we are hoping that you have something you can take away with tomorrow, today, next year for your students with student-led conferences with Book Creator and with Snorkl.
Yeah, I'm super excited. That was incredible. Thank you so much, both of you, for coming on, for just inspiring folks. You're always inspiring. I've seen you at several conferences, and it's just an absolute pleasure to get to work with you leading up to this and then on this. And your energy is so great, and just what you're doing for students. Folks, we work with a lot of ed tech companies. Snorkl is one of those companies that really cares about what's going on in kids' brains and what's going on in kids' hearts and what's going on at home and what's going on in the classroom. So check them out, give them a chance, sign up for some Snorkl, play it around with it, get it in front of some kids and make some connections. I love it. But
feeling is like
any last words? Monique, Jeff?
Thanks for having us on. And we've been enormous fans of Book Creator and have used it, and this is very special for us, both just as former teachers. So
yes, thank you so much, and I hope that everyone enjoys diving in.
Bravo to you both. Thank you so much. Until next time, y'all. Happy bookmaking. Cheers.